Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Fun video today. We're going to be playing with some new makeup from a brand that I'm trying out for the first time, but they are by no means a new brand. I would be willing to bet most of you guys have tried out makeup from this brand before. I don't know what has taken me so long. I've got some eyeshadow palettes here that we're going to be opening up and playing with together. I have a highlighter palette, have a wing eyeliner here from Kaja. They sent me this. This is their new wing stamp, the long version. So I have the original version. Really enjoyed that one as someone that doesn't typically get along very well with liquid eyeliners. It was really easy to apply, and today we're going to try out the longer version. So that was like a baby wing. This one's a little bit longer. So all of that, and we're going to be drawing some inspiration from the lovely Jane Hughes. I have to tell you guys, I spent like 2 hours on Jane Hughes' Instagram feed this morning, and I have the perfect look that we're going to try and recreate today. So should be a lot of fun. Hope you guys are excited. Before we get into it, special welcome to those of you that are new here. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you'll consider subscribing before you leave. We have a lot of makeup to put on though, so let's get to it. Okay, so maybe you are wondering, what is this mysterious brand that I have just tried out for the first time? You guys are probably gonna be shocked by this, but it's the brand Sigma. I can't believe I have not tried out Sigma Beauty before. I haven't even tried out their brushes. I did get one of their brushes with my order. This is the Sigma E25. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with this one. I think it's supposed to be a dupe for the old MAC, this is the 217. So we'll try that brush out today. I also got the Disney Princess Cinderella palette. I don't think this palette is by any means new. This was just one of those situations where I do get like text and email alerts from Sigma. I finally opened up, wandered over to their website, saw that they were having a sale, and here we are today, $100 later. So we're gonna be using this palette today, but I also picked up this one right here. This is the Ambience palette. So let me just show you a quick sneak peek at the Ambience palette first. This looks so pretty. It's like a pink toned brown palette. Probably have these shades a million times over within my collection. Though I'm kind of to the point now, and I think I have said this before, that I could say that about any eyeshadow palette that I get. At this point, it's kind of just about the fun of the makeup, right? But I am excited to try out the formulas. I've heard great things about Sigma eyeshadows. I was this close to getting the Corda Rosa palette. I feel like that was like the hot thing last summer, the summer before. And then the Cinderella palette, this one right here. I do have a close-up to share with you guys on this palette, along with some swatches. This looks like a really fun one. Very impressed as I was swatching this. Charlie had so much fun looking at this one with me today. I tried to make sure that she had a peek at it because there's these little imprints on some of these shadows from Cinderella. Like you have Cinderella here, the mice, the little birds, you've got the shoe. Is that the shoe right there? Prince Charming. Really fun palette. I think this will be a fun one to play with. A lot of unique shades and really interesting and unique shimmers in this one. In fact, the shimmer formulas of a lot of these as I was swatching them kind of reminded me of some of the shimmers from Nabla. They have that like multi-dimensional, almost kind of, I wouldn't necessarily call them duochromes. They just have like a multi-dimensional sparkles in them. I also picked up the Sigma Glow Kissed highlighter palette. So here's what this one looks like inside. I was about to pick up a single of their highlighters, but they were like 30 bucks a piece. Even, I think even on sale, they were like 30 or maybe 25 a piece. And I think this thing was around 40. So I felt like that was a better deal to just try this one out. That way I could try out multiple shades when I wasn't sure which shade would work best. So I did swatch these and kind of use these a little bit this morning just to test them out. They're a little on the glittery side. I think the formula is really pretty, but if you're sensitive to highlighters that have some glitter particles in them, I think most of these do have a bit of like a glitter in them. So if you don't like that, like as you blend them out, I mean, it's super small. They're not like chunky in any way. Needless to say, I'm just uncertain about these. We will maybe use these again today. So before we start applying everything, let me just share with you guys a look that we're gonna try and recreate. So here is Jane Hughes. This is from her Instagram feed. Please ignore my phone. I desperately need to get myself a new phone, but it's like totally shattered. But yeah, we'll just, whatever. It is what it is. There is the look that we're recreating. Hopefully you guys can kind of see that. It's basically like a pop of blue on the inner and the outer corner. Really nice, long, pretty cat eye wing. Looks like she has a set of half lashes on, which we will be trying out today. And I love this kind of mauve look on her lips and her cheeks. This kind of is giving me vibes of Viva Glam 2 from MAC. So we'll be using this today. For that mauve look on the cheek, I might go with my Pat McGrath. And then obviously for the wing liner, we'll try out the Kaja. So let's get started with the makeup. We're gonna try something a little bit different today. I'm going to try applying a little bit of my Say Glowy Super Gel underneath my foundation and concealer just to give my skin like some extra glow and extra hydration. I'm gonna take that on my Luxie Duo Fiber highlighter brush. We're gonna apply this just kind of like to the center of my face, tops of my cheekbones, center of my forehead, all over the center of my face to really give myself that glow. This is like a very Jane Hughes kind of thing to do. Maybe not with this product, but if you watch her tutorials, at all, which by the way, I probably spent like 2.5 hours on her Instagram this morning. There's not a lot of makeup artists or influencers that I'll really like get sucked into their Instagram feed or just kind of get lost in their feed, but Jane Hughes is one of those few people. She is just so talented. She has this like natural makeup look, but she does very bold things at the same time. Like somehow she balances this like natural look with like super bold and kind of funky, edgy color texture. She's creative, but it's never like too over the top. I don't know. She just has like the most inspiring makeup looks. I leave her channel feeling like excited about makeup or just reminded of why makeup is so much fun. So let's add a little bit of foundation. Kind of want something glowy. I don't want to use too much. So let's go with my ABH Luminous foundation. I'm going to take a little bit of 270C, just kind of a half a pump. Did you guys see my pump? It's having issues. Now even this one's starting to have issues. This one initially was not. I feel like all of my pumps lately, even my NARS pump, my light reflecting foundation, is starting to give me trouble. We're gonna apply it with a brush. Take my IT Cosmetics brush. Kind of excited for summer to be over just so my skin can have a break from the... I don't even think it's just the sun. I've actually been a little bit more careful about not going in the sun too much or keeping my face kind of covered up or lots of sunscreen on for the most part. I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but I've heard that hyperpigmentation, if you struggle with it, it's not just related to the sun, but it's also exacerbated by the heat. I heard that. I don't know where I heard that. I don't know if that's exactly true, but I believe it because I feel like even yesterday, we were just kind of, I wasn't outside in the sun a lot, but we were out watching my son play in a baseball tournament. It was in the late afternoon and evening. We're covered, like we're in stadium seating, so it's all covered up. So the sun wasn't like bright. I did have sunscreen on, but it was very hot. And I noticed this morning, I woke up, I just felt like my hyperpigmentation is like extra bad again. All right, today let's add a little bit of concealer. We're gonna take the NYX Bear With Me concealer. So I have all kinds of tips that we're gonna be trying out from different videos or reels from Katie's channel that I kind of learned this morning. One of them was her concealer, like a concealer tip from her. So she dabbed her concealer on and then let it set for a minute, which I want to try with this concealer because this concealer I have mentioned, the NYX Bear With Me, I kind of feel like is not quite as high coverage as I feel like I need. So maybe just kind of trying this technique out where you just dot it on and you let it set for like a minute or so. So we're gonna let that set for just a sec and then I'm gonna blend it in. Okay, so now let's try and blend that in. So that definitely gave me more coverage, maybe too much coverage. I feel like Jane Hughes usually has pretty natural looking skin. That's okay, I think that looks really nice. Let's add a little bit of powder. So my skin is really dewy. I think I need to set down the center of my forehead, my eyelids. Let's take the RCMA No Color powder, really work it into my brush. So I get a lot of that powder like inside my brush so I can get less in one spot and kind of really use that small amount all over my face so I don't over apply too much powder. I just barely want to set things down. So I want to bronze up my forehead a little bit. She has a beautiful big forehead. I love big foreheads. They're like my favorite thing. My youngest son has this beautifully huge forehead that I just think is like the most glorious thing. I love big foreheads. I wish I had one. I have a tiny forehead, but that's okay. We're still gonna try and bronze things up here. So if you look at this image of her, you can see like up on her forehead, it's really nice and bronze. I don't want to go in too far on the cheeks because today we're going to be using the Makeup by Mario bronzer, which tends to take coverage off of my cheeks. So we're really just going to work around like this area right here with the bronzer and try and like mimic this kind of bronze look that she has. Let's take this brush. This is my Moda Mythical brush. It's a little bit smaller. I've been using the Sitting Grace one, really enjoying it. It's actually their foundation brush, but it is a little bit bigger. I want to be a little bit more precise with this because again, my forehead's a little bit on the small side. So we're gonna just tap this kind of right up here next to my hairline. I'm gonna see if I can almost create the illusion of a bigger forehead by adding some bronzer really high up and then highlighting the center. I don't know if that's possible, guys. My forehead is quite tiny. All you big forehead people out there, I envy you. Also those with big lips or lots of eyelid space. We all want what we don't have, right? Add the tiniest bit here, kind of towards the back of my cheekbones. I don't want to go in too far. This is mostly going to be blush, but I do want to add just a little bit of bronzer here to kind of tie up to this bronze on my temples, kind of in the hairline. Let's stop right there for now and move on to the brows. We're gonna attempt to do a Katie Jane Hughes brow, which honestly, you guys, I would love for Katie Jane Hughes to do my brows just to see if she could get my brows to look as good as her brows or anyone else that she does brows on. I love the way that she does brows. They have that kind of wet sort of look where you can like see the individual brow hairs, but they don't look like plaster to the skin. They just look so good. I love that style of a brow. They're like kind of natural. I don't know how she does it. Like she has some serious skill. And if you've seen her natural brows, they're actually quite thin. And I didn't realize that. Like when she has her brows done, it looks like they're her actual brow hairs, but a lot of those are just drawn in brush strokes. She's kind of a brow genius in my opinion, and I would love to see what she could do with my brows because I just don't quite have that skill, and I would love to have it. We're gonna attempt it today. So I have this pen right here. She typically uses a brow pen. This one's from Moly. This is their 7-day perfect tattoo eyebrow. This is a little bit dark on me, so we're gonna have to be very careful. I find most of these, I've tried like 3 of them. I've tried one out from Ardell. They're always a little bit dark, so I have to be a little bit more careful, but I feel like if you do it right, she always starts on the outside, by the way, or at least as I was watching this morning. She does the like upright brow really perfectly. Let's see if I can, oh gosh, there we go. It's a little bit better. I thought it was just the products that she was using, but I've tried a couple things out that I've seen her use. I can't quite get mine to look the same. I think it's more just her skill and her eye. That looks pretty good though. Pretty happy with that. I think that's probably about as close as we're gonna get to a Katie Jane Hughes eyebrow. Let's try a little bit of clear brow gel on top of that. So I put a little bit of my ABH Brow Freeze in it initially, just like the tiniest bit to kind of get them to stay upright. So let's head back over to my little photo. So as you can see, this is basically a really simple, kind of like barely there, nothing on the eyes except for that pop of blue on the inner and outer corner. So fun, so pretty. I feel like this blue in this palette is gonna be perfect for that. It doesn't look like she has anything on the center of her eye. I'm tempted to try putting maybe one of these 2 shimmers right here, these kind of like shell pink shimmers. I feel like that might be a little bit much. I kind of feel like what's working for this is that her inner eye is bare. So maybe what we'll do instead, let's leave the inner eye bare, and then we're gonna put a little bit of that shell color up here under the brow, just to utilize a little bit more of this palette. So I have this brush that came in the palette. It has the E38 on one side and the E54 on the other, but I really want to use the E25 brush. So many people have been talking about this brush for years. I mean, before I even had a YouTube channel, I heard people raving about this brush. It kind of reminds me of the Rephr #1 brush, which is right here. As you can kind of see, they're somewhat similar. Also the Wayne Goss #18, which I think is exactly the same as my Rephr brush, is also kind of similar. So this should be a pretty simple look, not a lot to it. We're just gonna dip into this shade right here, Sweet Nightingale. Just have one more look at this eye look. I kind of feel like that's a little bit brighter, like a little bit lighter than this blue is going to be. So actually, I'm gonna wipe that color off, and we're gonna start off in this shade right here, and then we'll top it with the blue. So we're gonna pop this all over this inner corner. I'm only doing this on the inner corner. I don't think I'll do this on the outside. Actually, let me zoom you guys in just a little bit. All right, and now we're gonna jump over to that blue. Again, that shade there at the bottom. Okay, so that's it so far. I know it looks a little bit weird now. I feel like this shade is a little bit more, a little bit deeper, a little bit less pastel and kind of white based compared to the one that she has on. But that's okay, we don't have to be exact. And I may actually go back and just top that very inner corner with a bit more of that light shell pink. I'm going to take that lightest shell pink there. This is the shade Wishful. We're going to run the tiniest bit of this under the arch of the brow. Then I'm going to take my Rephr #3. This is that little pinpoint brush. We're going to go back to that champagne, that light shell kind of champagne pink. I want to pop just the tiniest bit of this right on this inner kind of tear duct area here. All right, so I think that's probably as close as I'm gonna get it. Let's try out the liquid liner. This again is from Kaja Beauty. They just sent this to me. This is the longer version of their Wink Stamp Wing eyeliner. So I wanna show you guys the original version compared to this one. So here's the original, and let's just go with the right side. So this is the original stamp, and again, the right side, this is the long version. So there they are compared to each other. See how this one has just like the tiniest little, almost looks like a true triangle, whereas this one is elongated just a little bit more rounded. So I'm gonna try this out. This might be a little bit difficult for me to do on camera because I basically need my face pressed right up against a large mirror. I'm gonna try it with my Marc Jacobs mirror right here. Hopefully I can get this right. Wing liner is one of those things. Sometimes I do them just perfectly, and I do think these ones are easier than most using the stamp. But I am no expert and I sometimes don't get it just right. All right, so I'm just gonna line this up right at the right at the corner of my eye, try and get the angle to match the angle of my actual lower lash line, and just stamp it. Oh boy. I have a hooded brow, so I've got a little bone right there that makes the longer one a little bit trickier. But honestly, you don't have to get it perfect with the stamp. The stamp is basically just an outline for you to follow when you go in with the actual liquid liner. It's kind of just like a starting place. So it doesn't have to be just perfect. I just want to make sure I get my angles even. Crap, I didn't get them even. Okay, so obviously I didn't get them even. This side is definitely pointing more upright than this side. My bad. I'm just seeing if I can even them out a little bit. I've had trouble with this before, and usually you can use the liquid liner to kind of even things out just a bit. I am gonna run this all the way across the lash line. Okay guys, so here is the finished wing liner. Honestly, not my best wing liner job, which is saying something because I am by no means an expert at liquid liner, period. I kind of feel like the long one is maybe a little bit too long for me. I found that as the wing was getting close to my actual brow bone right there, it was just a little hard to keep that line straight. I think that's why this one was a little bit harder for me. I did end up going in with just a tiny bit of black powder right here to try and even out those lines just a bit because they were a little bit sloppy. Now I feel like the outer line kind of covered up that blue shadow, so I want to try and go in and add just a tiny bit more of that blue. So let's take this little tiny brush from Sydney Grace. I'm just going to take a little bit on top of that. We're just going to apply this right above that wing. Trying really hard not to go on top of that. All right, let me just take one more look. So here is Katie's eye. Let's try some mascara and lashes and see if maybe it'll all come together once I get some mascara and lashes on. She always seems to use really wet looking mascara, so I'm gonna use my e.l.f. Lash It Loud. I feel like this one's gonna be pretty close to what I see from her, and then we're gonna put on that set of half lashes from Eyelure. I will do that, then we will come back, finish off the lips and the cheeks. Holy cow, guys. It took me a minute to get there, but I feel like we got there in the end, or close to there. So this is the completed eye look with wing liner, with mascara, and my little corner lashes on. I don't think the color is exact, but I feel like we're kind of close. Let's quickly finish off with the lips and the cheeks. With the cheeks, let's go in with a little bit of blush first. This is the Pat McGrath Labs Blush and Glow Trio. We're gonna use this shade right here, which is Divine Rose. Beautiful kind of mauve-y rose pink. Wipe off my Rephr number 5 brush. We're gonna run a bit of this on my brush and pop it all over, kind of up high on this outer part of the apple of the cheek. These blushes, you guys. Pat McGrath is one of those brands that I swore to myself, it's so expensive and way overpriced before trying it, of course. And the few things that I've tried, I have been wildly impressed with. It is still really expensive though, but man, her blushes, they are gorgeous. All right, so she has really glowy skin. It doesn't look like highlighter per se. My guess is it's more of like a liquid, either a liquid cream or highlighter or kind of liquid glowy product that she has just on her skin. Her skin always glows, but I do want to try out this Sigma highlighter. So we're gonna do some highlighter all the way in. I know this is probably gonna emphasize some pores on me, but that's okay for today. I'm gonna take a mix of this shade Flare and then this shade below, which is the shade Sizzle. Try and tap off some of that glitter We're gonna run this just down the high points of the cheeks all the way in here. And then I'm gonna go with my foundation brush and really press that into the skin, because I know this is gonna be a little bit sparkly, maybe a little bit stronger than I wanna go initially, but I really want that kind of glow. Let's run a little bit down the center, right here on the forehead. I don't usually highlight this area, but I'm going for that Jane Hughes glow today, even if we have to fake it. So back to my foundation brush, I'm just gonna really press this into the skin on the center area of my cheek. This is where I have some larger pores. I don't want a lot of that like glitter to emphasize those pores. So this is gonna maybe remove a little bit of the excess, really press it into the skin. So hopefully it's not emphasizing those pores quite so much, but I still have that really pretty glow right there. That's really pretty. It is sparkly. Like if you see this in person, I don't know if this is coming across on camera, but there is some sparkle in there. Not enough to deter me. I'll definitely still wear this, but just be aware of that. So let's move on to the lips. So she has a really overlined, kind of very plump looking mauve lips. So we're gonna take my MAC Whirl. We're gonna do a little bit of overlining. See if I can plump up my lips. So there's the lip liner. Then we're gonna take a little bit of MAC Viva Glam 2. Gosh, I love this one. I don't use it enough anymore. It's really nice and kind of cool tone, like cooler toned nude pink that's not too light. I feel like that's pretty close. Maybe just a little bit of this. This is from Sydney Grace. This is the Sydney Grace lip cream in the shade Bailey. Just a little bit lighter, but it's very similar in tone to Viva Glam 2, so I feel like this is gonna go perfect in the center. Okay, let's have one more look. Should I put my glasses on? Do the little... Such a work. So I don't know, guys, what do you think? Feel like we got kind of close? Definitely feeling the vibes. I obviously am no Jane Hughes. I don't have her gifts. I don't look just like her as much as I sometimes wish I did, but I'm gonna add just a little bit more blush. Let's give myself a little bit of a spray. And there we have it. This is the finished look inspired by the lovely Jane Hughes. What do you guys think? You guys think I got close? Would you ever wear this type of a look? I didn't love it before I had my liner and mascara and my lashes on, but now that it's all put together, it's actually really pretty. I feel like you could do this with a lot of different things as well. You could do it with like a bronze shadow, with really any pastel color, a pink or a purple, anything that's a little bit on the lighter side. I think would be really fun to do this type of a look with. Definitely not a look that I typically do, but that's kind of the goal this month. I'm trying to try some different things and just kind of push myself outside of my comfort zone. Let me know what you guys thought. Have you guys tried out the Cinderella palette? I think it's such a pretty little palette. This is gonna be a fun one to play with. I am digging this green, right? I mean, I guess it's more like a blue green. I love these types of shades. This totally is giving me like Natasha Denona Original Safari palette vibes. Beautiful matte shade. Love the shimmers in here. Some really nice warm browns. And then the Ambience palette. I know I didn't swatch this or anything for you guys today, but this looks like a beautiful kind of pink toned bronze palette. I love the look of the swatches for this palette on their website. That's really what sold me on this one. I think I was back and forth between this one and like the Mod one, or maybe it was one of their newer ones. I don't know. All of their palettes looked really pretty. Let me know what palettes from Sigma you guys have tried out that have worked really well for you, but I'm excited to keep playing with them. I will keep you guys posted on how this one goes. If I come up with any creative looks, I'll try and let you guys know what colors in this one are working for me. I'll also keep you posted on the highlighter. So far, I think it's really pretty. It's very, very intense. Not for those of you that like a more natural looking highlight, I would say. As for the wing liner, I think I shared with you guys my thoughts on it. I feel like the longer one is just a little bit trickier for my eye shape because I have that really strong brow bone right there. If my wing starts to encroach on this area right here, and I find this to be true with shadow as well, which is why I have a harder time doing really like elongated kind of wingy type looks. I have such a sharp brow bone that shapes of things start to get really tricky once I get towards this area right here. So I feel like the shorter one worked a little bit better for me. I do like the concept and the formula of the liquid liner from Kaja. So I think that is everything for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for stopping by. Hopefully you'll consider subscribing before you leave. Make sure those notifications are turned on. But that's gonna do it for now. Thanks again, guys. I will see you all in my next video. Bye. Now I have Sing Sweet Nightingale in my head after playing with this palette, and not the version where Cinderella is singing, the one with the stepsisters. You guys know what I'm talking about?